that you've taken them on a journey.
Yeah.
And that's been my frustration as well with my clone is if someone comes to me and says, I want to be more confident when I speak, whether large audiences or small audiences, my clone will give good information. But if they were hiring me as a coach or a trainer, I would get them on a dozen times in a day.
Yep.
Then I might call them and say, well, okay, you've got a presentation on Thursday. Are you ready to rehearse now? Ideally, my clone would email and say, send me the video of your rehearsal, you knucklehead, in a polite way. And it may be a text. My clone would be able to hear me say, okay, TJ, my pitch is at noon on Thursday. My clone would be able to send a text at 2 p.m. Thursday and say, hey, TJ, how did your presentation go? What was the reaction? When we get to that level, now I think there's real value, because that's part of why people pay sometimes $500 a session for a personal trainer. They already know, if they lift a certain amount of weight or they're on the treadmill, that's good for them. They want that trainer to say, hey, why aren't you here at 7 a.m.? I'm holding you accountable. So it's something I've given a lot of thought to, and I'm sure you have as well. How do you foresee rolling it out in your own particular niche?
Well,
if all of a sudden your clone could do anything and could be, I guess the phrase is intermodal, where it could hear you say something, could communicate back by text, it could initiate an email once a week. How do you anticipate this rolling out?
Well, I think it's interesting, because I think if you had asked, let's be honest about some of the deficiencies, if you just asked that question to my clone exactly how you asked it, I think at the moment it's not clever enough to take the whole thing that you said, understand the intent of that question and answer it in a full way. I think what it would have done is latched onto the last part of what you said and answered it. And so I think one of the things that the clones need to do better is listening to the whole conversation and understanding the intent of the whole conversation. I think at the moment, I'm finding, especially with text-based things, that people aren't asking good questions. And again, the clones need to get better at coming back and saying, hey, come on, hang on a second, let's dig into that a bit more. I think and I believe this is coming fairly soon, so it will be really exciting for both of us, when our clones can be more proactive rather than passive in their response, then that will be really good. So the points you made about automatically checking in with you, maybe integrating into a lot more apps. So for example, it could integrate into Outlook, and at the end of a conversation, it could automatically put the next coaching session in your diary. I think integrating into all of the workflow tools, like project management tools that people use, will be really good. And again, that can't be very far away. So I think the proactivity piece of it is the key bit. The other thing that I haven't quite nailed yet, but on the previous platform, I nailed this, is training the clone to follow my frameworks. So if someone said, so at the moment, if you came to my clone and said, can you help me with my vision? It's going to go, great, here we go. Here's a template. TJ, download this and let me work through it with you. But actually what I want it to do is be a bit cleverer than that, and actually ask the right questions that would almost fill in the template and then give them the completed template. So I think when that stuff gets better, I think it's interesting. I'm doing a presentation next week, and my final question is to ask my clone, what do you think the world will look like in 2 years with AI clones? And it does a pretty good job at answering that. So in a way, we should probably bring my clone in to ask the question.